Okay, you should be able to hear me now. Okay, good. I'm just gonna hide that real quick while I set up the password. Holy shit. Kinda John just resubscribed for 4 months and I still haven't got the anything sorted for that. But thank you a lot. Appreciate it. Might almost make some money from this thing. I need to. I've been. One of the things I've been needing to do is sort out the subscribe alert to make it fancy, because I've. I mean, I set it up when I wasn't really expecting to need it, so it's just the default. Okay, good. Gentleman's on the right side. Don't know how we knew that. Maybe he's looking at the stream. Which is only acceptable now. Becomes unacceptable once the game starts. I shouldn't have to say that out loud, but just so everyone's aware. Where's my controller? Oh, there it is. All right. Oh boy. I am excited for this. So this is best of 7. Important to remember. Used. Just gotta go at it. Hard and fast. Now, this is an interesting turn-up. We got Gentleman with Squirrel Pigeon, Skunk Snake, Badger Wire. And Melvin with Squirrel Pigeon, Falcon Skunk, Cam Boar. Now this is interesting because Gentleman is running the Badger when that is Melvin's signature unit. Like, if you know anything about Melvin, you probably know he's got a really nice Badger. Which sounds dirty, but I promise you it isn't. Okay, so I'm actually somewhat familiar with these two decks. Gentleman's deck is one that I run myself quite a lot, and Melvin's deck is one that I run into quite a lot. I think it's one Meek told me to run yesterday. He said it was like the best deck for ranking. Now I think the Snake Badger should be able to beat it, assuming everyone gets up to full armies. The Badger can beat everything on Melvin's side except the Falcons, so it's really going to come down to, can Melvin Falcon Ball the Badger down before the Badger gets revved up. Star Shell, I'm still feeling the edible from last night. That is... I mean, you know you've got to play today. After this game, we got Tiki versus Meek coming up, and Tiki is apparently still high. I once played my games on while I'd eaten an edible. It was against QQ. I forget what for. I think they might have been League. It might have been the sort of mini league that happened over the Christmas spring break. But QQ contacted me. I told him I don't want to do the games now because I just had an edible. And he said, that's okay. I'll just go smoke a doobie and we'll even it up. But I got him as I was coming down and as he was coming up. So, like, he won the first game and then I won, like, every other game in a 3 straight set because half the time his commander was just standing still, like, staring at a mill. Anyway, Gentleman and Melvin are coming up against each other. As far as I know, neither of them are high. They're both in peak physical performance. Melvin trying to get this chameleon round, but it's just spent the entire fight cloaked. And Gentleman's coming away with a big win. All of his tier 2 still alive. He's picking up the mill. Melvin is really going to struggle against the snakes at this stage because he's only got Skunk Cam. He needs Falcons. That's what Melvin told me. Not Melvin, Meek. When he told me to run this deck, he said, you've got to get the Falcons out fast. And that's what I did. But unless this fight goes terrifically for Melvin, and that's unlikely given his commander just died. Yeah, this looked like a win for Gent. I don't know who's actually favoured in this matchup, like, who has a better win rate. But I know they're both very highly ranked players. I mean, you can work that out because they wouldn't be here if they weren't. I never remember how you compare people in a camel bot, but I'd be interested to know who it says would win. Okay, same decks from both players. Oh no, not quite. Melvin has dropped the cams for the snakes, which I think strengthens his deck up a lot against what Gent is running. After all, snakes can take snakes, and snakes are good at hitting badger, so I think Melvin's got a much better deck composition. Of course, that's only the first step of the battle. Although he does have a nicer map as well. Gentleman is stuck in here with just this one expansion. Whereas Melvin has this triangle of mills to expand to. I mean, Gentleman could theoretically take this mill up in the corner and hold it because it's just so far for Melvin to walk, get to it. But that still leaves him with a 1 mil disadvantage. With the campfire, that's a 7 farms that Melvin's got. That's 7 times 300, 2,100 food deficit that Gentleman could theoretically have to overcome. Gentleman has won 64% of the ranked games. Okay, so Gentleman is favoured, theoretically. which I think is probably what I would have said. Like, Gentleman is just always scary and never seems to play. Like, every other player has games where they mess up or they play badly. Gentleman seems to never have a bad day at Tooth and Tail. Move. Okay, so we got Skunks and Snakes coming out from both players. Both on 16 farms. Gentleman with the first tier 3. Melvin isn't going to be able to scout it. A really underappreciated aspect of Snakes is their ability to prevent scouting. They're one of the few units that can consistently do it. Okay, but Melvin going for a boar himself. I mean, Melvin doesn't actually know what's behind here. Could be 1,000 tier 1, it could be tier 2s, could be just a tier 3. But he's made the right choice. Okay, Melvin has managed to get in, but his ball is still way behind. Like I said, Gentleman doesn't... He's not setting up to attack. He's putting down farms. He's only got 3 pigeons. I don't think he'll attack as soon as this badger gets up. Speaking of, has Gentleman hasn't scouted the boar either. He's probably going to find it now, though. Yeah, there you go. No, honestly, I'd probably expect maybe multiple tier 3s from at least one player. Gent putting down a lot of pigeons, which, you know, makes complete sense. Okay. Alright, we're on a 3v3 base. Gentleman actually having the lead thanks to this campfire. And this mill might actually be harder for him Melvin to hold than I was considering. So Gent might actually come out ahead on this map. Okay. So both players going for 4 snakes. Gentlemen go for a lot of tier 1. Now the pigeons are going to help keep stuff alive in the boar flames. And I mean, arguably the boar is now a fairly small part of Melvin's army. It's more important to have a counter to the falcons. But still, that's a definite risk, taking 33 squirrels against 4 skunks and a boar. But Melvin's trying to expand. He knows he needs to go in. Badger is getting some rev up, but it can't stay in. It's picking up a few extra shots. The boar is down. The boar's down. It retreats slower because of its halved speed when while firing. That puts out the back, so the snakes get their shots on it, and that's a dead boar. But the army's still not that uneven, and Gentleman's walking through a choke point with a lot of tier 1 against skunks, and his badger's down as well now. Now his army is mainly pigeons. He still can't deal with this falcon swarm. Theoretically, that should be the squirrel's job, but the squirrels are all dead, and a boar is already nearly done. for Melvin. Gentleman has only just sold enough to get his ball working. Okay, Gent needs to know about the other ball. I mean, he probably suspects that he's going for one, but he probably doesn't expect it to be out now. I don't think he'd be holding back here if he knew his opponent was coming in. Oh, but he might come in at the side. Oh, this is bad. That mill is probably going to go down. No, he turns to face the army. The Badger is just out, but it's too late. So much damage is done, and I mean, having the Falcons, I mean, 8 Falcons is kind of a tier 3 in its own right, and Gent just doesn't have a decent way to overcome it. I think maybe his best answer would have been a second Badger, but it would have been hard for him to get that out, and it's always easier to say it from the commentary box. But we're at 1-1. Are we going to go to game 7? Alright, here we go. Squirrel, skunk, owl, wolf, fox, wire against squirrel, pigeon, falcon, skunk, snake, owl. So Melvin just changing his tier 3, and changing his tier 3 in a very interesting way, because Gentleman had Badger last round, which shreds through an owl deck. But Melvin has opted for the owl instead. Perhaps expecting Gentleman to change. I mean, Melvin has made the hard call here that Gentleman won't take Badger again. And I think that's a fair assumption. Gentleman does like to mix up his decks. He rarely plays the same deck multiple times in a row. Anyway. What Gentleman's got is, I think, the Area 51 deck. There are a whole bunch of variations on triple tier 3 these days, but I think this is the Area 51. I don't think it's Meek's version of it. I'm pretty sure that runs lizards. I think this is this guy's version of the triple tier 3. It really bothers me that this Warren is out of line. Like, it needs to be 2 up there or 2 down here against a slope. I hate that it's 1 tile off on both sides. But that's just a me thing. Anyway, Gentleman going skunk first as Melvin expands. It's a pretty large map, so he's likely to get away with it. I mean, he is getting away with it. Plus, Melvin isn't that aggressive a player. But Melvin going for snakes. He's made the read on the skunks. Or, well, I mean, whatever tier 2 your opponent is going for, snakes are probably your best bet against it. So that puts Gent at a bit of a disadvantage. It's not a great triple tier 3 map. He's got decent access to mills, but what you're really looking for is a defensive line, and there's not a particularly good one of them around. Because the difficult part with triple tier 3 isn't the ecoing up, it's the putting down the tier 3s and not getting destroyed. Okay, Gent is trying to fight. He does have some squirrels to shoot at these snakes, but I mean, the skunks are already out for Melvin. Gentleman went for 2 farms over here, whereas Melvin, I don't think Gent didn't know about this mill, but Melvin did sell it, so he's got 180 food extra to work with. Plus he's got the pigeons to keep his damage sustained. Skunk Snake is just such a powerful combo in the early game. Early to mid game. Honestly, even pretty strong in the late. I mean, Falcons take over it eventually, but having the focus fire potential with the snakes, along with the area of effect of the skunks. It just works so well together in so many different ways. And both of them can really use pigeons effectively because they have high health. And the snakes regen. And they both want to be kiting units, so they'll both take a little damage at a time. So just getting an extra point or two on them is far more useful than it would be if you were like healing up a falcon or a cam, which take sustained damage. Now, Gentleman is losing a lot here. Maybe his eco can carry him forward, but I don't think so. Like, if he can survive until the 5-minute mark, then survive an extra minute after that, his farms might make a difference, but not if this mill goes down, which has happened. Yeah, this was I don't think this was a bad deck choice from Gent, but it was a bad opening. Opening with a tier 2 into one tier 1 into the expansion left him very vulnerable. And Melvin normally isn't the type to take advantage of that, but he saw the opening and took it. Okay, so best of 7 means it's first to 4. This is another map. Melvin has finally brought out his Badger. He's kept the same 5 units and just changed the tier 3s around. Well, I guess apart from the first game where he was running cams, but since then, he's not changed a lot. He's mainly just been changing the tier 3s is what I'm getting at. And now he's got the Badger when Gentleman has decided to bring an owl deck out. I think Gentleman might be a bit psychologically knocked from that last game. He took a bit of a riskier deck and it didn't work out. And instead has gone for something that's much more reliable. But I gotta say, I think the reason his last deck didn't work out is not because of the deck. It was because of the greed. Although, yeah, I guess that is what Gent did the first game to Melvin. Although, no, in the first game, Melvin did have Skunk Cam. In the first game, Melvin had 2 sets of tier 2s up. Gentleman just came in and completely out-microed him. Plus, Melvin was hard countered by the snakes in that first game. Whereas in the last game, Melvin didn't really have Gentleman hard countered so much as he just had him out-tempoed. I think Melvin saw that mine go up. Bit of a problem for Gent if he did. Mines are always more powerful when they're hidden. Now, is Gent just going to mass the lizard, mine up, and then try and run around like a pile? Makes me feel old when I reference pile, because there are probably plenty of players these days who have no idea who he is, or never saw him play. It's not a great lizard map, but it's not awful. He's got this path in, and he can come around here. It could be a lot better. What's really in Melvin's favour are the fact that he's got 2 mills very tightly packed to his main. So it's a lot easier for him to cover ground. And he can still, eco up relatively safely. If his 3rd mill was out here, which is the type of maps I usually get when I'm playing a lizard player, then it would be so hard to hold it, because you've got your opponent can run in here, he can run in here on your main, you can just come up the middle, you can take a long route around and then come in the back. Okay, well, both players are still at even eco. Melvin trying to get up to 4 skunks. That's his best answer to the mass lizard. I mean, it's possible here that Gent just takes map control in a big way. This mill, even this mill, as he sets up his mines, just sprinkles them around. It's going to be hard for Melvin to move out. Gentleman was going for an owl, but he sold it, which is a good call. Ah, he did see the badger. Gent's always been a big believer that if you see the badger, you should just sell the owl. And I think it's the right call, especially going for heavy eco and falcons off the back of it. He should be able to get all this out, especially because Melvin's going to have to take his push slowly to make sure he doesn't lose a bunch of stuff to mines. Dead Bones and Xenoact. I mean, difficult to say. I'd imagine so. Players of games generally trend upwards. You know, it's a classic building off the shoulders of giants type of scenario. I think if someone like Chip were to come back then and just like practice for a month or two, he'd probably still dominate though. Because they just had like a lot of raw talent. Yeah, if you just took them as they are now, then obviously they'd be worse. If you gave them time to practice, I mean, I don't know. And I gotta be honest, like the Dead Bones and Xeno, like they're old even by my standards. They were like alpha players. As I was only from launch, and it took me a while to get properly into competitive. Okay, so Melvin has his badger up. He's trying to go for a bunch of falcons. Gentleman has the army advantage, but 220 of that is mine. That's probably... It's annoying that there's not numbers on the side of the graph there, apart from the ones, so you have to sort of eyeball it, but that feels like Melvin's caught up. I mean, as long as the game keeps getting played, players should generally get better, because they've just got more information to work with. So, given that the competitive scene for Tooth and Tail has somehow managed to survive continuously, I'd expect that the players we've got now are going to be pretty good. Okay, so 20 falcons for Gent. Plus the lizards. He's going to gun down this falcon flock from Melvin so quickly. The badger is revved up though. Oh, and Gentleman's retreating. You can't retreat against a badger. Oh, but maybe he just wanted to kite it in to the mines. The badger does go down, but Melvin still has the falcon flock. And he's got pigeons to keep him healthy. But Gent is continuously spawning lizards. Still though, I've seen a lot of games get snowballed from this position, where the opponent is outside the base with falcons and pigeons. That's all you need at this point. Can Gent get back up to the critical mass necessary to gun down these Falcons through the pigeon healing? Maybe, but he loses a mill to do it. He sacrifices a mill to buy time. That said, he is ahead in army now. Melvin is trying to rebuild his Badger. It looks like, at least. If Gent just goes in now, when there's only 2 skunks on the field, his lizards will hit way above their pay grade. What sort of counterwork can Gent do? That said, he doesn't have the pigeons, so he's not got the same sustain. You can see a lot of his Falcons bleeding out. He needs to get a mill here. He got 3 farms on that mill. So, economy is pretty even. Okay, he finishes off this mill. Economies are 8 to 8. Melvin sells the Badger. This could go either way still. Melvin has his skunks up now, so the lizards are less of a threat. How Gent came back? Because Melvin was supply blocked on so many of his units. And he had 180 food. Just sitting in the corner doing nothing. That's 3... Like, this Badger Warren, that was worth 3 Falcons. Like, that's not insignificant at this stage. Okay. Now, Gent... The army's even, and Gent is way behind on eco simply due to fallowing. Like, Melvin just needs to move in, and as long as he survives, he should win. Simply because he can afford to rebuild. The longer Gentleman waits, though, the better, because these farms are now fallowing as well. And maybe that's why Melvin doesn't want to move in. Yeah, his eco lead only lasted like 10 seconds. Neither player really wants to attack here. Melvin's now in starvation as well. Oh, there goes the lizards. Is Melvin going to push in? If he does, that leaves him open to a base race. Are we getting a base race? We're getting a base race. Melvin doesn't have enough food to build another base. I think Gent wins. Gent wins this. 21 lizards can gun these down so quick. Oh, but he's bringing the Falcons back. Falcons over Warrens. They trade very well against the lizards. Both players are starving, though. Gent lost all his tier 2. Melvin is ahead on the starvation timer. If you just suicide the... If either player stops the opponent's mill from going up, then there's a win. Gentleman still looks like he needs a base race. Honestly, I wonder if Gent could have got the mill. Okay, Melvin has stopped starvation. Gent has enough food to go back and put one down. Or does he? He loses a lot of lizards. He doesn't have enough anymore. Melvin takes game 4. Going up to 3-1. He only needs one more point to take the whole series and knock Gent out. I wonder if Gentleman would have been better off just trying to burst that mill down. Or maybe if on his counter push, if he'd gone for another mill rather than the fresh one. I don't know, that was a close game, so a lot of small changes could have made a big difference. Alright. Gentlemen go in with an unusual deck here. Lizard, Falcon, Owl, Machine Gun, Balloon, Artie. Melvin going back to the boar deck. Lizard should do really well for Gentleman here. He took a big risk. If Melvin had gone Toads, Gentleman would be in huge trouble, but fortunately he didn't. And it's an alright Lizard map. Gent can get in from multiple angles. It's hard for Melvin to hold this third base and defend this back base as well. I think if this does go to a tier 3 game though, then Melvin probably wins. If Melvin's able to get the boar out with a couple of skunks and a decent falcon flock, I don't think the owls will actually outscale that. Yeah, Gent has been at a deck disadvantage nearly every game, to some extent. Like last game, how different would it have been if Gent would have been able to get owls up, but he couldn't because he was against a badger. Anyway, we'll still have to see. These cabins are a bit of an annoyance. When you're a Lizard player, you generally want there to be fewer cabins, because they stop your early rushes and they'll pick off a lizard or two. Okay, Melvin preemptively moving his army. He's expecting this. That said, Gent has 6 lizards to 5 squirrels, so he can just win. Or not. Didn't see this cabin there. It's in a cheeky shot. Okay, Gentleman can just come in through here. Start picking off farms. But that's the way Melvin's scouting. See, Melvin has protected himself against lizard run-bys by having his army watch this side and his commander watch this side. That way lizards can't come in here or they just get shot, and if they come in here then Melvin just has to click the rally button and his units come over. Now Gent might still be able to pick off a pig before the units move, but they do have the road as well, so they're pretty speedy. Right, but Melvin now going for 2 skunks, snakes and boar all at the same time, whereas Gentleman's just building up lizards. Ooh. Like, this could go very favourably to Gentleman. I don't think Gent knows he could just attack. Instead, he's setting up a defensive line here, which, I mean, honestly, is a pretty nice place for defensive line. The arty just takes so long to get up, though. And Melvin can walk around here, but he has to take all his army to do it. And the end result will be Gentleman just comes in with his lizards. Okay, a lot of defenses to get picked off. Now the problem for Gent is he's floating 300 food and there's a boar about to come out. And boar's pretty good at roasting defensive structures. I think Gent loses this. I think Gent misread the situation. I mean, look at the army advantage he had. He could have just moved in. Gent still has 15 lizards. He's still even on eco. 15 is a magic number to burst down a mill with 8 pigs on it. But Melvin's playing this smart. He's left his boar here and he's moving his units up. Okay, Jen's going to pick off the boar, but he's going to lose all his lizards to do it. I mean, that was pretty devastating. I think this is a win for Melvin. And Melvin progresses to the finals. A pretty dominant display. I jinxed Gentleman by saying he never seems to play badly. He never has a bad day at Tooth and Tail. He just had a bad day at Tooth and Tail. Okay, so now it's Meek Tiki. I think Tiki is probably favoured, but I can't ever write out Meek. He's just too unpredictable. And yeah, Meek is Tiki is dealing with a after effects of an edible, but really that's his own fault. Got no one to blame but himself for that. This is something I don't get. Meek has been playing the Quartermaster recently. Is he doing it literally because he knows that's Tiki's go-to commander? If so, then that's... I mean, that's a very Meek move. Because Meek has actually been practicing at Quartermaster. Like on rank and stuff. And now Tiki has taken Hopper, which is Meek's usual colour. So I'm probably going to mispronounce or get them mixed up numerous times. Anyway, here we go. We got Squirrel, Toad, Skunk, Snake, Owl, Balloon from Meek. I'm pushing up on my controller, but it's going down. Okay, it's Lizard, Falcon, Skunk, Snake, Owl, Machine Gun from Tiki. And as all Meek games begin, you put down a 5-farm Warren, because that is the meta Meek has created. I think Meek probably is a player who's had the most impact on this meta. Simply by rushing so often. Like 4 or 5 farm doubles are actually somewhat common again. Anyway, both players get up to 8 farms safely with an extra Warren. Meek is in a really nice spot. I just noticed he's got Squirrel Toad against Tiki's Raw Lizard for tier 1. So Tiki's going to have to get up to a tier 2 quickly if he wants to have a chance here. Or just completely play out of his mind. I have seen Tiki go Raw Lizard against Squirrel Toad before and come out on top. I've seen Meek do it as well. But Meek usually does it by base racing. Whereas I've genuinely seen Tiki take lizard only fights against Squirrel Toads and somehow make it work. But both players are going for skunks nice and early. Tiki has seen the toad, which is this little bomb-headed freak. Made by, it's another skin made by this guy. I'm trying to collect them all. We've got the, well actually the Squirrel Janissary skin was made by Raven. Still waiting on a lizard skin. You can see the Plague Dr. Skunks there. They were made by this guy as well. So were the Centipede snakes. You should see one come out in about 10 seconds. And the owl and the falcons actually as well are also this guy's skins. Here we go. The Centipede snakes. I hate them, but I love them. Like, they're so... I think the Centipede snakes look so creepy. Just utterly disgusting. Maybe it's just because I find centipedes creepy. But, I mean, how can you not with all those legs? Just, yeah. Aren't centipedes themselves, like, really poisonous? Or is that millipedes? Or is it both? Yeah, the skunk skin is a very simple change, but it is a pretty cool one. Or is it venomous? I think it's Daddy Longlegs, right, where there's a rumour that they're supposed to be, like, extremely poisonous, but they have no way of injecting it. I don't know if that's true. Citation needed. But I think centipedes and millipedes might be poisonous as well. Okay, here we go. We've got Tiki running around. We've got Tiki playing like Meek and Meek playing like Tiki. Gets 3 farms and a tier 2 Warren for his 12 lizards. Not too bad. Although this is a very Tiki play. Put the machine guns up while you take your army round so that you can hold if your opponent tries to counter push. Okay, owls coming out for both players. 2 for Meek. Puts him behind an army value, but Tiki's army is going to do much worse in a straight up engagement, simply because the toads are going to get good hits on the lizards. So this is quite a smart catch-up mechanic from Meek here. Oh, this controller's so busted. Probably didn't help by me throwing it last night. I think that's definitely made it a lot worse. Okay, Tiki going for a second owl as well. Oh, Meek just Misses that second owl. That's big. Now, in an owl v owl fight, I wonder what's more important. The toads help a lot in an owl v owl fight because they blow up your opponent's mice, which let your mice get more done. But the falcons sort of work the same way, except they take a bit longer to do it, but they also last longer. So the toads are more like high. The toads and the falcons both serve the same purpose in this fight of clearing up the mice, but the toads are much higher impact. They happen quickly and then they go quickly, whereas the falcons take a while. They take a couple of seconds per mouse, but they stay for the whole fight, and they can hit the owl as well. So I don't know who's got the advantage in this matchup right now. They both got skunks, they both got snakes. Meek has extra skunks, which helps a lot. Like in an owl v owl fight, I've learnt to my detriment that sometimes it's better to sacrifice going for an extra owl just to make sure you have like 6 or 8 skunks. Alright, here's fight 1. The toads let the mice for Meek get in, although Meek has sold down on toads, so he obviously doesn't expect too much from them. Tiki has a nice setup, but it's 3 mils a piece. The campfires are pretty spaced out. I expect Meek to have an easier time taking them, as he takes this one in the bottom. Plus Meek is already 3 farms ahead, whereas Tiki is planning for starvation. Both players owling up at pretty comparable paces. Okay, so Meek has the advantage in the long game, but oh, Nitro can make a big difference. As you see, as 4 stacks of poison get on that owl, that is a big loss for Tiki. That's going to be the brownie. You can blame that on the edible. Now he's trying to push into balloons. Balloons work better against owls than machine guns do. I think Tiki shouldn't still be pushing here. Oh, and the snakes! I didn't even notice. Meek did a very Tiki play. Moved his snakes separate from the rest of his army to pick off a mill. And that has got to be a Meek win. Yep, that's a win for Meek in game 1. But a lot of that did come down to the map. So not to take anything away from him, but Meek had access to more eco with the campfires. Plus Meek had easy access to Tiki's 3rd base. So we'll have to see if that holds up. Both players giving their decks a lot of thought. Tiki eventually goes back to what he was playing with before, which will work pretty nicely against the deck Meek is considering, as long as he doesn't get run over by the squirrel toad in the early game. Okay, squirrel lizard, toad ferret, fox machine gun against lizard falcon, skunk snake owl machine gun. Okay, so if Tiki can get the owl out, that basically runs over Meek's entire deck. But in the early game, Squirrel Toad destroys the lizards, and the ferrets are going to be really good at poking down the machine guns. Stop moving when I don't tell you to. It's not a great lizard map. Like, the mills are very closed off from each other. Meek has a basically free expansion, since the only way in there is for the lizards to cross by his main anyway. Tiki should be relatively happy with his as well. Nice circle of bases. You can set up a front line here of machine guns, and then start pumping out owls. Unfortunately, if he does try and do that, he's going to get ferreted. Okay, we've got skunks coming out. Meek has actually not put down any toads, surprisingly. Maybe... I guess there's no reason for him to. He can defend with just the squirrel lizards. They're the toads. Right, Meek machining up first. This is a very important choke point for both players. Like, Tiki needs to be able to hold this in order to push out and secure him a third or fourth mill. Meek, obviously, he needs to push in if he ever wants to kill Meek. Or he needs to secure it himself so he can start pumping out his own tier 3. Meek is going quickly for the fox. Tiki hasn't seen it. Is there any reason for him to suspect? Well, he's seen it now. Okay, and he's responding with an owl. Ferret fox on the way. Well, how else would you describe being shot at by ferrets? It's ferreted. I hate, by the way, the layout of these warrens. They are so out of line. Like, push this lizard warren down to that lizard warren, then push the ferret down, and then you can fit a whole extra warren in there. Plus, it's tidier. And look at this, there's a whole same thing on this side. You've got that little fucking spot there on the hill. It's just empty. I know why. Sometimes it's actually practical to leave that spots there where you can put down machine guns, but still, just yeah, makes me tingle in very unpleasant ways. It's like a negative orgasm. Alright. Fox ferret. Ferrets take down the machine guns. Fox takes out the units. Tiki is going to have to try and hold on until this owl comes up. The skunks actually get a lot of damage on that fox. Meek, got to play carefully here. Just sends his units in. Clears them off. The owls aren't going to have time to build up mice. And they'll probably just get overwhelmed anyway. Okay, that warren down. Like, owls are the comeback units, but I don't think Tiki's going to be given time. I mean, the fox does go down. That's something. But these toads, when they get in, they're going to do so much damage to the mill. And that's game 2 for Meek. Alright. We got Squirrel, Pigeon, Falcon, Cam, Boar, Badger. Okay, Squirrel, Lizard, Falcon, Skunk, Cam, Snake. So Tiki going for the 4 tier 2s. 2 tier 1, 4 tier 2. We need a name for this other than the 4 tier 2. I used to call it an Exodia deck, but that doesn't feel very appropriate. Two tier 1, 4 tier 2, 2 1 4 2. The 21 42. Anyway, Meek with his Badger Ball combo. The BB gun, because they both start with B. I'm not good at naming stuff. The Quad Father. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Isn't it called standard? No. Like the standard is like 2 tier 1, 2 tier 2, tier 3 defensive structure in some variation. Yeah, the 2211. Okay, Meek is ecoing up. Gonna lose. Oh my god, is Meek just gonna get rolled over here? No. Tiki picked off a farm though, so he's still doing decent. But really, all that just does is even up the ecos. Well, I mean, it's still 60 food that Meek has to spend. Moment we're just doing Squizzard versus Squirrel. Okay, both players getting up to 16 farms, both players going for tier 2. Cams versus Skunks usually goes in the Cams' favour. I'm not pushing the controller at all as it does this, by the way. My controller is definitely broken. How many possible decks are there in TnT? A lot. There's probably some equation you can use to work it out, but I'm not good at maths. At least not that good. I can do addition and subtraction fairly easily, but once you start getting into formulas and n's to the power of x's, I kind of lose interest. 134,596 from What Is a Phone. Is he telling the truth? Is he bullshitting? I'll never know. $38,760 from Sense Edge. Anyway, Tiki has an army advantage and looks like he's going to be pushing in, as Meek went for an extra 5 farms on this mill. A very aggressively placed mill as well. Now, Meek is preternaturally good at holding off against attacking armies with worse armies. Case in point. And now this eco lead will really start to pay for itself. Meek got his cams in at the back there and picked off a lot of units as well. Tiki gonna run around. If he just picks off a couple of farms here, he actually brings himself right back into it. Although he does lose his lizards. 6 lizards for 2 farms isn't really worth it. Alright, Meek's got his double tier 3 down, the Boar Badger. It's a very powerful combination. Especially with pigeons. Like, Tiki's best answer would probably be to just start spamming snakes, but he doesn't know about it, and he's not expecting it. Is Meek just going to make a clean sweep? He'd still need to win a game after this. But, I mean, it looks like he's got this one on lock. Because Tiki can't really even get in and do a decent scout. If he moves through here the short way, he gets blasted down by the Falcons. If he moves here the long way, he leaves himself open for a push. Okay, but he's doing a push. This is good. Still, the army value is pretty even. But he has got a nice round. It wasn't huge damage, but it was significant. Tiki is now pretty far ahead on eco, but both tier 3s are about to come up. Like, Tiki kind of needs to be already attacking. He sees the boar, he's not going to see the badger. Tiki's put down 1 snake warren, but it's not even built yet. Okay, how's Tiki going to handle this? You don't micro the boar so much, you just sort of micro the badger, but holy crap! That just got... I mean, the Falcons just gunned them both down. Although Meek is winning, actually. If he can... I don't think he's got enough to sustain these Falcons, though. Or rather, Tiki has enough to gun them down. And now Tiki, with a 3-farm advantage, is actually looking pretty favoured. Both players are completely supply blocked. But Tiki is still able to pump out tier 1. This cam, look at that cam just standing a centimetre away from the squirrels, just watching them destroy the mill. Oh my god, chameleons. They're so stupid. Chameleons and moles. Moles are the stupidest units in the game. Like, their AI seems to be the dumbest. But chameleons are not far behind. Anything that uses a mallet. But still, Tiki just coming in. Even if he doesn't win the fight, he keeps Meek on the back foot. And Tiki's going to take a game, which I had already sort of written off as a Tiki loss. So Tiki's still got some moves. His brownie might have worn off finally. I mean, I'm not sure what went on with the double tier 3s. Like, Boar Badger was such a powerful combo. It didn't look like he made a huge mistake with him. Badger Boar is not that hard to micro, to be honest, because both of them can shoot while moving, so you can just like focus on moving the badger around, And then when you want to move the boar, you just click rally all instead, and the boar will move. And you only need to briefly click it, so it's not like you're dragging around the rest of your units as well. Is it good against snake barbed wire? Probably not. The board does hit the barbed wire if units are standing in it. And tanks a lot of snake shots, so the badger can clear it up. It makes it a lot harder for the snakes to kite. But I wouldn't say it's good against it. Okay, Meek finally went for the rush. Or no, Tiki finally went for the rush. Tiki not being allowed to burrow back. That's going to actually delay him quite significantly. He was already a farm behind. Now, Meek has already got his 8th farm building before Tiki can put either of his 7th or 8th down. Okay, so Tiki with the squirrel, toad, falcon, snake, cams, gunk. 2 tier 1, 2 tier 2s again. 2 tier 1s, 4 tier 2s again. This time with the toads, which is the Araloo variation. Meek with squirrel, toad, skunk, snake, owl, balloon. That's the standard. 2 tier 1, 2 tier 2, tier 3 defensive structure. That's how Andy envisioned the game being played. Wire does kind of fall off pretty heavily in the late game. Well, it falls not in the late game because sometimes armies are still small even in the late game. It falls off when the armies are really big. The bigger the army, the less important barbed wire is. Man, I've been trying the 5 tier 5. It's difficult. You can't run the 5 tier 5 in a meta that's this aggressive. I've been trying 4 tier 3 a bit. Anyway, I don't know who really has the advantage here. I mean, the deck Tiki's running is just sort of a generically strong deck. He gets a very nice trade there, Tiki does. Picks off the balloon as it's building, damages skunks, get all of the tier 1, keeps a few of his tier 1s alive. He might have been able to keep up the fight there. Maybe pick off a pig, but with a shorter reinforcement distance, I don't think he can be blamed for pulling back. So, the Meek deck. I mean, the balloons are good at sniping tier 2s, if he gets them up. Which is proving to be more difficult. Easier said than done. Okay, the toads trade. Falcons put in a lot of work for Tiki. But they go too far. Get gunned down by the Falcons. Oh, I think Meek might have overpushed here, overextended. He has got a snake, but so does Tiki. And again, more of Tiki's tier 2 is staying alive. Plus, Tiki managed to pick off a farm there. So I think this is going Tiki's way. He is now 3 farms ahead. And has a nice army lead. Meek trying to get up a balloon to give him some sort of defensive power. But it's really hard to come back against this deck. Plus, Tiki's deck holds off an owl pretty well with the Falcon, Skunk, Cam Toads. Even squirrels and snakes aren't that bad, because snakes are one of the units that are really good at sniping. If they hit the owl, then the owl is probably going to die. And they can hit the owl much more regularly with the Falcon, Skunk, Cams taking down the mice. But that looks like a non-issue at the moment. Tiki is just taking this mill right in Meek's face, because he knows Meek can't do anything about it. Also because he can't take any other mill. That is a bit of a problem for Tiki. He's left himself a starvation farm, but once these start fallowing, if they start fallowing, he'll be in trouble. Okay, Balloon puts in a bit of work. A lot of poison on Tiki's units, but it's only 1 stacks, so it's just going to wear off. Snake didn't actually get enough done there. Plus, one of Meek's snakes got picked off before the fight started. The snake was in a good position off to the flank, hitting every unit, but it hit every unit just once. If there had been 2 snakes there, if Meek's first snake hadn't died, I think Tiki would have lost big time there. But now Meek is in real trouble. He's trying to catch up to the snakes with the toads. He does, but he just doesn't have the army anymore. Okay, if he can pick off all this tier 2, he's still in with a shot. Meek is still losing farms though, pretty regularly on these attacks. But Tiki's taken his starvation farm. He needs to secure this mill, or win by the 12-13 minute mark. Though he's not the only one who's going to start fallowing. Meek's already started to fallow on this mill. He's struggling to hold any of the forward farms. He's going to need to expand, which means he's going to need to go 60 food behind again. Which is a struggle when you're already behind on eco. He's going to come in, sees the full farm, but he also sees a lot of farms about to fallow. So I expect he'll probably hold on. Oh. 11,628 is all the possible decks with Squirrel. Oh. That's quite a few. Okay. This doesn't work. I respect the effort, Meek, but you can't hit from there, and now you've just left yourself wide open here. Odd play. Although maybe he didn't know this was blocked off. It's a win for Tiki. We're back to 2-2. We're going to go to game 7. Maybe. Oh my god, so much maths in the chat. I can't follow it. Alright, here we go. We got Squirrel Pigeon, Falcon Skunk Cam Badger against Squirrel Lizard, Falcon Skunk Cam Snake. Tiki's dropped the toads for lizards. Might actually work out well against Meek's deck. Lizards are much better against Badger, although toads really aren't that bad against Badger, because the toads can actually move faster than the Badger does now, so they can catch up to it as the Badger tries to rev up and get a lot of burst damage on, and burst damage is something that Badger struggles with. Okay, no rushing this time. Oh my god, we lost a follower. So all of the math talk scared someone off. But we got the resubscribe, so I'm not crying too much. 236 and 237 is where we've been oscillating from. I think we've got most of the Tooth and Tail community in these follows. So kind of drying up my potential audience. Just need the game to get bigger. Okay. Meek getting run over by the Squizzard as he tries to go for his tier 2 and an expansion. I mean, Meek took some pretty heavy losses there, but he held on to the mill. One farm isn't insurmountable. Plus now he has the skunks. Is he going to consider attacking? I don't think he should. Skunks against lizards never works out that well. But the lizards are in a very low number, so maybe with these pigeons he can muster up something, but by that time Tiki's going to have his own skunks out, and you know, calculations, risk reward. I personally don't think I'd push in. Okay, he's seen the other tier 2, right? Yeah, he did. So Meek is behind in army now. Well, no, he's ahead in army, but he's going to be behind once all these tier 2s come up. He's going to be behind in eco once all these farms come up. Is Delphius a maths nerd? I thought Delphius did... Why do I always think Delphius is a chemistry nerd instead of a maths nerd? I guess maybe it's possible he's both. 27,907,200. That sounds like an awful lot. Okay, Tiki comes in with his falcon lizard skunk. Actually gets cleaned up nicely because Meek had a nice round. Tries to counterattack. The skunk actually gets a decent amount of gas down on its 1 health. I think Meek overextended there. Is Tiki overextending? He does get a farm. He's got the road to get a nice burst of speed to retreat. Hard to say exactly, but I mean, Tiki is probably winning. Meek's going for the Badger. That's a very all-in play, and oh, Tiki didn't scout it. Really? That's huge. Mishi's a doctor, I remember that. I don't know a doctor of what. I think medicine. I think he's actually like a doctor. Or is he the chemist? I always think it's Delphius who's the chemist. Don't know where I got that from. Alright. Good surround by Tiki. Bring his lizards around the back. I mean, he loses most of his units. He's got 1 falcon that nothing Meek has can shoot. Meek has the Badger nearly up. Tiki has scouted it now. He's put down some snakes. He's only got 1 of them up. But Meek only has 1 pigeon. Meek is now all in on this Badger. I don't think 2 pigeons is... I don't know if the Badger has enough support here. But Micro can make some interesting things happen. Okay, the snake goes down without putting much... Okay, it's just suicide the Badger here. Just move it forward, get the kills on the mill. Actually, he should have just moved it back because it would have survived. But he does get the mill. That's what I would have done. And Tiki surrenders. Meek goes up to game 3. The Badger actually managed to bring it back for Meek. The Hail Mary Badger. That was a tense game. I got distracted by all the maths talk, but with both players that close to each other and constantly attacking, there was a lot of chance for something to go wrong. I need like 2 minutes to get my heartbeat down. No, no, not allowed. Not allowed, Meek. Part of the game, as far as I'm concerned, is managing your psychology and not getting sent out. Not tipping over, not getting tilted, not getting... keeping your adrenaline in a reasonable order. I mean, there's literally no rule against him, but... there isn't actually a rule against it, but I frown upon it. And there's nothing I can do to actually force him to play. But no Meek, when you watch this VOD, that I am frowning right now. Very strongly frowning on your taking a break. Meek said I need like 2 minutes to get my heart rate down, and I think that's not cheating, but I don't think it's sportsmanlike. I think part of the game is like dealing with the stress. If you mean what happened in the game, Meek won. His Badger managed to get enough damage done that his Badger basically traded for all of Tiki's army. Besides, it's already been 2 minutes. There we go. Okay, we got Squirrel, Toad, Pigeon, Skunk, Snake, Box against Squirrel, Toad, Falcon, Skunk, Cam, Snake. So Tiki going back to the Araloo variation of the Quad Father. Fucking hell, that's so far down. Meek going with Fox Standard. Mostly kidding. Not entirely kidding, but mostly kidding. This is a pretty fair map here. 3 mils to 3 mils. Both are pretty safe. Here's where the fighting's mainly going to be happening. There's no huge choke point. I mean, I guess technically between these two cliffs is a choke point, but that's only really going to become a factor if you get up to like 6 skunks. That's a lot of space to fill up. The Fox might struggle here. There's not a lot of room for the Fox to maneuver. But the Fox is up against 4 tier 2s, and the Fox is very nice when picking off tier 2s. The problem that it runs into is that a lot of the tier 2s take 2 shots to kill. So if there's enough, then the tier 2s can just keep on pressing, and then the Fox just has to run further and further and further back. And eventually the Fox will get cornered. Is Meek able to contest this? He is. His own skunk does come up. Okay, he keeps his mill alive. Both players going Squirrel, Toad, Skunk. This is Meek's match point. If he wins this one, he wins completely. And he actually wanted to go on to face Gentleman, because Gentleman 3-0'd him, I think, in one of the early rounds. He said he wanted revenge, but oh, wait, am I thinking of gentlemen? Is that right? They wouldn't be. They would have been in different groups, wouldn't they? I don't remember. There was someone who 3-0'd him. Maybe it was Tiki. Anyway, the winner of this goes on to play Melvin. And I don't know if there's a third place match for the losers. No. Put it in the corner, please. Just, I hate it. I hate it. I hate that placement so much. Wait, Fox hidden away, but Tiki scouts it anyway. He's going to want to come in. Tiki has scouted the Fox. The Fox is building, not being sold. This is a lot of skunk value. But that cam just has no problem standing in it. Is this mill going to go down? Yes. Okay, there was only one farm on it. But still, farms are about to fallow, so expanding is going to get a lot harder. So this is basically a one base all in from Meek at this point. But Tiki has a relatively small army. The Fox should be able to put in huge work. But as always with the Fox, it's only one mistake, one misclick away from death. Especially against cams and snakes. That's a dead cam. Okay, this Fox getting forced back. It does get tagged. The second one doesn't get it. But it does stand in the skunk gas. Is that poison going to last long enough? 3, 2, 1. Yes, it does. Okay, Tiki holds on. What does Meek go for? Does he sell the Fox Warren or does he try and go for a second? He's going for a second. Like, oh man. Meek needed to play so much more cautiously with that Fox. But can he actually get a second one out? Is Tiki going to push? He is. He does have a huge army advantage. And if he just takes down this mill, Meek will start to starve pretty soon. Like, he's got one farm left and it's about to fallow. The Fox isn't too far away from coming up, though. The snakes are gone as well, though, so... Okay. Tiki hunts down the snake. Oh, the Fox is up, but it's also cornered, and there's a lot of squirrels for it to fight. That's a dead Fox. Good pushing by Tiki. Risky play by Meek to go for a second Fox, and I think he made the wrong call by trying to actually, like, retreat from the army rather than just fight it and take out what he could, because the Toads caught up and did huge damage. And now we are at a 3-3 match. Game 7, the decider. So Meek going with actually the same deck: Squirrel, Toad, Pigeon, Skunk, Snake, Fox. Tiki going with Squirrel, Lizard, Falcon, Skunk, Cam, Snake. Okay, so also we finally solved the answer. Apparently it is 38,760 combinations. 38,760 possible decks in Tooth and Tail. Okay, both players expanding. This is a very different map. Easy expansion for Meek, easy expansion for Tiki. But third and fourth mills, like Meek is gonna struggle to push out. But he's also got a much further distance. He can kite back with his fox, which should work for him. He doesn't have a lot of angles to run around, but he's got enough to work with, I think, just with these paths down here. Oh, hang on, I'm getting a call. Hello? Okay, sorry about that, but at least didn't come when something interesting was happening. I know you can't hear me now. You weren't supposed to be hearing me because I was on the phone. That was deliberate, Meek. That was deliberate. Anyway, yeah. I saw the Falcon play from Tiki here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to comment on it. Okay, Meek up with the Fox. Oh my god, those toad hits from Meek. I mean, the mill has already gone down, and the fox is on its way. Actually, I never checked. Did Tiki see the fox? He has. This is looking really good for Meek. Holy crud. Even with that mill gone. Like, he's probably just going to get this mill in a counterattack anyway. And when his fox comes out, there's not going to be much army for Tiki to force it back. Like, this is where the fox shines when the army count is small. But it looks like Meek is going to push back without it. And that's it. Holy crud, what an anticlimactic game. That's a shame, but I mean, hey. Good work, Meek. A win is a win is a win. And that means we've got our finalists. It's going to be Meek versus Melvin in the finals. MVM. congratulations to everyone. Should we do a winner interview? If Meek is around for that? I mean, you still won 3 of them. It's well played, Tiki. Came close. I'm not quite sure what went so wrong in that last game. Alright, let's give him a call.
How's it going?
Hey, Meek. So,
Yeah, sorry for stepping out for like 2 minutes on like the 5th game or something. My hands were shaking and had to like get under control.
it was a tense game. I wish that had been the final. I mean, that last one, yeah, I mean, you didn't even need the Fox in that last one. I'm not sure. You just got such huge toad hits in that engagement.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
Completely
Oh,
clear.
thank goodness. I figured I'd get him off Owl after the Badger game. I don't know if that's true or not yet, but so for the last 2, I thought Fox was finally viable because I thought he was just going quad tier 2.
Yeah,
and,
he was.
Yeah. I mean, I had him dead to rights on the 6th game, and I missed microed my Fox, which was painful. It got gas, so that prolonged the snake tag, and I died.
The gas.
Oh, that was painful.
Poison extra.
But it worked out. You know, I was feeling pretty good after game 2. Game 2, the deck I prepared, like in advance against his Owl deck with the MG. I thought it was good, but I also thought it was really like it was much harder on me to fight just with that deck because it's weak to so many things. So I was really happy that worked out. I think I have room to improve in my micro still. Mocha says that a lot. Like in the 3rd game when I lost the 3rd game when I had Boar Badger. I felt I was in such a good position. I felt like I was ahead the whole game, and I lost the fight.
Yeah, the Boar Badger game was rough because I just assumed you were going to win that one because you were already ahead, and then you got the 2 tier 3s out. But they went in, and I mean they just got shredded.
Yeah, there's definitely room to grow for me. I think if I like, I think I'm gonna start learning new key bindings just to help improve my micro.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, stressful game, stressful series.
I mean, I guess the micro was the only situations which actually let you down, but
yeah,
you still got through.
Yeah,
it was a tough set.
Thank goodness.
You're up against Melvin next then.
It's so funny. I said at the beginning of this tournament that the one person I don't want to fight is Melvin because I've lost every tournament matchup against him, and now I have to. Except I won a PVC recently, but still, and now he's in the finals. So whoop-de-doo, but we'll make it work.
In the finals, I mean, he had a really good set against Gentleman. Took it 4-1.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy. I'm glad I didn't get snake flanked to fucking oblivion. That was my biggest fear, honestly.
Yeah, there wasn't really a good opportunity for it. I saw you trying to do it in one of the last games. I think game 4.
Yeah. I mean, I lost that game. Like he just out.
Yeah.
Like he out prior game. So I thought there was an opening and there wasn't, and I was dead anyway.
I wondered why you moved your snakes there. Yeah, I was wondering if you didn't know there was close stuff. So Melvin, you got any plans for him? He's been running he famously runs. He was running mainly one entire deck this entire series. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna just like try to play his style and not do him. I don't typically do well in those situations. As you can see, like the games I lost were like pretty standard. Well, some of them. So I think it'll be a combination. Not praying to map gen gods. Gonna try not to do that anymore. And play like triple tier 3.
I mean, the map gen
less.
gods didn't seem to have a particular favorite in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'll have to do some prep.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, still though, you're in the finals. Congrats.
Yeah, I'm closing in on 2,000 hours. I think I got like 1,900 hours plus right now on it. So glad it paid off.
That's more than me, and I spend a lot of time casting it as well.
So, yeah, I mean, Tiki felt like the biggest hurdle, honestly. I have a 40% win rate. I played him like plus 500 plus times. So I wasn't really overly confident going into the matchup. So I'm glad that that's behind me. And I don't even have to fight Jen, even though I wanted the rematch.
Yeah, I thought it was Jen you wanted the rematch against.
It's ironic. I've lost so many games, and every person that beat me is no longer in it.
Well, that's why it's a league. It's you know you play the consistency. You play the spread.
I mean, I'm just happy with game 2. Honestly, that was like my proudest moment in this series. So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I'm gonna cool down.
Which one was game 2?
That was the ferret. That was the game I pushed.
Oh, the ferret fox one. Yeah, that was. It's always nice to beat someone with ferrets, especially when it's someone like Tiki who hates them.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw he had like 4 skunks and it was overcompensated, I was like, sweet. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm gonna cool off a bit, maybe watch the replays, and probably start prepping for Melvin soon.
Okay, well, good luck with that, and
thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
All right. See you around. Among Us tomorrow?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, so I think I'm probably going to call the stream there. I'm going to go say hi to my family because they haven't seen me in 48 hours. Tiki, do you have something to say? How does an edible still work a day later? I don't know. But in all honesty, man, you got no one but yourself to blame. You really shouldn't have taken it. I mean, I've turned up to League games drunk, though. I think Melvin's probably gone. Is he still around? I mean, I don't think in the second game you knew he was coming with ferret, fox. It seemed like they caught you off guard. You didn't get the owls out quickly enough. Oh, as in 2 games I should have won. Like last game. Yeah, I'm kind of confused as to exactly what went so wrong in that last game. I need to go check the replay. Yeah, it doesn't look like Melvin's around. Yeah, I think in the last fight it was just the toads completely obliterated your lizards, and then the rest of the army hit your army in the back because they were all attacking the mill. Still though, just next time, don't turn up high. I don't know if there's a 3rd place match between you and Gent at some point, but if there is, I look forward to seeing it. And now we've got to see who's going to win between Meek and Melvin, as well as do all the intermediate and beginner leagues stuff. I don't know where they are at the moment. Well, I hope you enjoyed the edible at least. Okay, I need to go. So, thanks for coming, everybody. Tomorrow I'll be playing Among Us, and I hope you all have a good night. Toodles.